Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. And before we get on with the episode, I just wanted to talk about improved haste a little bit. In the last episode I kind of skimmed past its mechanics because it was only a one-time use for us, cast from a scroll, and originally I wanted to talk more about the spell once we start memorizing it on our mages and using it on a regular basis, which is not happening yet, but I think it's best to explain its mechanics already. So as the description states, there are three major differences between haste and improved haste. The improved version does not increase our fatigue value when it expires, which is nice. The downside of it is that it's a single target spell, whereas normal haste has an area of effect. And finally, the most important thing about it is that it actually doubles the amount of attacks per round of the target. And this also leads me to something that I've noticed when editing the previous episode. And I didn't just want to post a note to clarify it, but I would rather elaborate about it here. I said that while under the effect of improved haste, Senashira had 9 attacks with Ashidina and 7 attacks with Daystar, and I realized that perhaps I could have been misunderstood there. So just to clarify, I didn't mean that we had 9 attacks with Ashidina specifically, but that with Ashidina equipped, we had a total of 9 attacks, 7 of which were made with Ashidina, and the 2 others were made with our offhand. And with Daystar equipped, 5 out of the 7 attacks were made with Daystar itself, and 2 with the offhand. And I guess it's also a good time for a little reminder how attacks per round work. Under normal circumstances, we can have a maximum of 5 attacks during a round, and only 1 of those can be made with the offhand. And that's why these speed weapons are so good when placed in the offhand, because the 1 extra attack that they give is then transferred to the main hand, because offhand can only attack once. And with improved haste, everything is just simply doubled. So offhand attacks twice, and all of the other attacks are made with the main hand. And that's why these speed weapons are even better when we're talking about improved haste, because they don't just give 1 extra attack to your main hand, but essentially 2 when you have improved haste active. But anyway, now back to the episode. We just got done with conquering this tomb of King Strom III. Well, we have defeated all of the guardians leading up to it. And now the last thing left to do is to just plunder it, I guess. But before we loot this pile here, which is actually a trigger for something, we are going to pre-buff, and I think this Globe of Invulnerability should expire very soon. Yeah. So I just wanted to wait for that, so that we can renew Spirit Shield on Senashira, and we are going to haste. We have 2 hastes available to us. And one we're going to use now, and hopefully it's going to last us for a couple of encounters, and then the other use of haste we're going to save for later. And here I think I'm going to just throw in a couple of simple buffs, like Protection from Evil, Remove Fear. I think Anomen is not going to be in the thick of battle that much in this encounter, so I'm not going to spend more time on like throwing his personal buffs, but I think just a Chant and Bless will do. And then we're going to haste with Edwin. Alright, Senashira is going to cast Spell Immunity to Abjuration so that her buffs are safe, and then we're going to stealth with Kirinai. That's succeeded. We're going to prepare with her, and now we can loot the tomb, and there is some dragon slaying equipment in there. And now when we go outside, there's going to be Samia with some friends. And it turns out that she isn't really a researcher, and that we were used. So she planned all along to use us to defeat all of the guardians and basically conquer the tomb. And she just wanted to wait for the outcome to come and loot the treasures, without having to go through the trouble of properly going through the tomb like a normal self-respecting adventurer. But anyway, so now we have a group of 6 that goes hostile, and they are basically all around level 13. So Samia is a fighter, Ake here is a Kensai, this guy Chuck is just kind of like a melee-oriented fighter, Kyle is their mage, Ferric Ironblade is their thief, and Legdoril is their cleric. So Kirinai is going to prepare for a little backstab here. And we're going to throw a Dispel magic with Keldorn, and I think a Remove magic with Senashira. And before those casts are done, actually Keldorn's Dispel magic is instant, so let's wait with it for a little while. But basically I want to, of course, dispel primarily the mage. He should have some, well, let's see, some basic pre-buffs, I think. Stone Skin, minor spell turning, minor globe, improve invisibility. So we could just, you know, dispel his illusions, then spell thrust him, breach him, but I think that's a little too much trouble when also having to deal with all of the other people here. So let's throw in a remove magic and a dispel magic from Keldorn. Of course, Senashira is going to be immune to that dispel magic because she has spell immunity. And before these hit, let's just do a quick backstab onto the cleric here. Alright, 70 damage basically to him. And hopefully we don't dispel Kiranai with that dispel magic. Okay, both of those were not effective on the mage, unfortunately. Legdoril is near death, so let's just switch to our thrown daggers and kind of just try to finish him off. And then let's fall back a little bit, I think, so that we are positioned in a better way. Alright, Ferric went invisible. Okay, critically missed. You know what? Let's just go invisible through a potion now, or maybe you can just stealth. Okay. She was able to go around the corner, and when no one was seeing her, she was able to re-stealth. Or actually, it actually works using the vision of the thief into account. So actually, if you're blinded, you can pretty much stealth in, like, in sight of enemies, like right in front of them, because the thief herself does not see them. But anyway, that's just specifics. You know, I would really like to dispel that mage without having to go through all of the normal trouble with all of the single target spells. But anyway, here comes Samia, so we can just gang up on her. Alright, the cleric activated Sanctuary, so unfortunately we cannot finish him off that easily. And I think the mage might have cast, yeah, protection from magical weapons. And now he's casting something right at us, standing in the choke point, so he's not going to be too easy to get to, but I think right now our best course of action is to just switch to normal weapons and just try to dish out a little damage. And we don't really have a normal weapon for Keldorn. Alright, that was just remove magic. And fortunately it wasn't effective. And it didn't dispel our haste. I would like to kind of backstab... Who can we backstab? Maybe the Kensai, if he starts kind of moving around. I would like to backstab the cleric, but I think he's going to do a full heal on himself. Alright, now I think the battle is going to open up a little bit. Right, he actually cast Harm, which is going to deal a lot of damage if he succeeds with his attack. The mage is... Okay, Spell Thrust was cast on Senashira, that's not a big deal. Alright, 81 damage done to the Kensai. Let's actually finish him off while we're at it. Yeah, near death. Keldorn can go in as well. Keldorn can... Oh yeah, now we can actually finish the cleric. Unholy Blight was cast upon us, so that's going to do a little damage. But let's keep up the pressure on the mage here. That's the only threat left. And as I say that, Senashira gets almost destroyed completely by the other two people, by Chak and Ferric. So let's just get her out of trouble. Yeah, the thief is going to backstab again, but hopefully he's going to backstab someone else. Yeah, that was a backstab on Kiranai for 30 damage, not that much. Alright, now we can get rid of him. And that's it. I didn't want to move Edwin out there because... well, I actually could have protected him. Because now that I think about it, his protections are not going to be significant in the... in any further encounters. Because we are going to rest before the final boss. So actually I could have had Edwin in the fight and he could have thrown maybe a slow or some glitter dust or some damaging spells. So that was kind of a mistake in keeping him out of there, out of trouble. Alright, so the Kensai had a normal katana which is going to sell for something. Alright, so we can actually identify just from our lore this shield, which is a really nice one. Armor class +3 and 25 resistance to all of the 3 elements, everything except acid. So this is really nice, and this is going to be very useful for us. Unfortunately, we cannot identify this sword, and I'm going to do all this when we get some more stuff. We're going to identify everything that we can. I'm going to use our glasses of identification. Alright, what else? And there's also Samia over there. Okay, this medium shield +1 and the plate mail +1 we were able to identify. And there's also another wand of fear with a very low amount of charges.
What is it?
But that's not a problem. Alright, so now before our buffs expire, let's try to have some more battles. In here there's going to be a group of wolf wares, including some greater wolf wares.
Yes, certainly.
Yeah, and when visiting here early, these can pose a little bit of a problem because they need magical weapons to be hurt, and their regeneration is pretty significant. So very early in the game you might not have the damage necessary to kill them. But for us, there are not going to be a problem. Oh yeah, and we should switch to our magical weapons, of course. Now let's just focus our attacks here, and everything is going to be fine. Alright, and let's go. Since we still have our buffs active, now there's going to be a group of orogs. Let's just have them walk in, because there's a trap right outside. And I think we also might have, yeah, these golems from like up north. Of course, with SCS, they really want to join the fight. So we have the standard group of 1 juggernaut and 2 stone golems. And while we have our buffs active, they shouldn't be a big problem. Right, and some more orogs from the room to the north also decided to join in, I think. Let's just make a little bit more room for ourselves. Alright, our haste now expired. But that's okay, we basically needed it for... I just wanted to have them that effect for basically these encounters. And now that we are done with them, it doesn't matter all that much. We still have that second use of haste, which we are going to use for a certain golem encounter. Alright, we're not going to care about that friend scroll. Oh, this is fine. We just need to heal up a bit and detect that trap. Alright, not the end of the orogs. Just one more.
Yes, it will be done.
Alright, and basically this was also something that, if you remember that troll cookbook that we found in the previous episode, it mentioned the wolfmen in the west dungeon. Could have been these wolf wares or some people that we're going to meet further. It also mentioned this well with an air elemental apparently guarding some treasure, and also mentioned the genies, which were obviously the Ifrit guardians that we have disposed of last episode. But anyway, here we can interact with this well, and apparently,
What is it?
you know, we can like fish out this elemental from out of there, and we also automatically got, through that interaction, we got this helmet, and we're going to identify that a little bit later as well. Alright, so let us continue here.
What is it? I am listening. Speak.
And I think we're going to go here first.
Yeah, it will be done.
So there are some men here, and someone called Grancor is addressing us. Apparently they are adventurers, just like us, and trying to hide from the other monsters here and heal up, I guess. But if we pressure them with some questions, it will become apparent that this theory of them being adventurers doesn't really hold up too well. Making deals with orcs and, you know, being basically not pestered by the opponents. Yeah, so they basically say, like, to hell with it, let's just do the fight.
Yes.
And this guy, he's a greater wolfware. Of course, not a problem for us right now.
What is it? Without doubt.
And there's some decent goodies, actually, in here. Some cool projectiles. We might run out of space in our ammo belt soon. And a true sight scroll, a chaos scroll. Very nice. Alright, some more of them.
Speak.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, quickly and precisely.
And this is basically, like, from a role-playing standpoint, you know, it would really make sense, I think, in my opinion, to... you know, it's not really implemented like that in, like, gameplay mechanics, but this could have been, like, a really safe space for resting, because, you know, you have this, like, very defendable position here with these choke points and walls, and you had the bedrolls already prepared. You know, you have, like, a resting area with a table and stuff. Like, this could really serve as kind of a safe resting place. Of course, resting on this level is not safe, and you can get like interrupted anywhere. But just for like role-playing purposes, I like to kind of use this area to rest. Here is a horn of blasting. It has its uses, but we're going to identify that later. Alright, and that's it. And we are not going to rest yet.
What is it?
We're going to progress further. Also, Senashira leveled up a little bit
Speak.
earlier. Here we're going to witness a little conversation and a fight between the different servants of Firkrag, apparently. They're going to duke it out. And while they're fighting, we can actually kill the troll, because he's the most resilient when they are basically done with the fight and try to leave. You know, because trolls have that mechanic when they like fall down to the ground and need to be finished off. It kind of doesn't work all that well when we want to just
Yes.
get rid of him while he tries to leave, and, you know, while we're at it. And we can also kill the hobgoblin. Basically, when the captain wins, he's going to turn hostile to us anyway, because his bloodthirst is not sated, apparently. But if the hobgoblin and the troll win, they just leave.
What is this? Will not take long.
But of course, we want to kill them all. We want to get the experience and rid the world of these creatures. And here there's going to be a secret passage with a potentially tough encounter, because there's going to be another group of golems, and this time they're going to have an
Yes.
adamantine or adamantite, I always confuse the two, golem with them. And that's a golem that's immune to all of the different elements. Of course, as all golems are, he is also immune to magic, but also has 90% resistance to every type of physical damage, and also requires +3 weapons. So we're going to have to use some other stuff here. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to give Daystar to Keldorn, and we could also give him a shield. Let's just rearrange this. And we are going to give this sword to Senashira. Yeah, Jahira and Anomen are fine, and Kiranai is going to switch to her +3 dagger. Alright, and now we're going to be prepared.
What is it?
Here we are going to haste again, because these stone golems of course can slow, and if we are slowed in that fight, we are going to get destroyed, especially since the adamantite golem can hit for like up to 50 damage per hit. And of course the stone golems can dish out some damage themselves as well. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to equip this anti-poison necklace on Senashira, because it's adamantite golem. He can cast that gas cloud, so hopefully he's going to do that now. Alright, and we will place that gas cloud somewhere, and then we are going to go in with everyone else. And the gas cloud is not going to do anything to Senashira because she is immune to that poisoned status effect. Alright, now we can go in. And actually let's get rid of these stone golems first, quickly. Alright, Senashira needs to get out of there and get some mirror images. Alright, and now we can focus our attacks on the adamantite golem. Similarly to like Diarni's Keep, you can get him stuck in here, and he cannot get through this narrow passage, and you can just kind of, if you have like +3 projectiles, and especially when you have the different ranged weapons that generate their own highly enchanted projectiles, like Tanshuran's bow, you know, the sling of Everard, I think, and you know, all of these, you can kind of you know, have him stand here on the other side and not be able to do anything while you just shoot at him. Right, he, I think, got slowed by the Flail of Ages. Alright, 30 damage to Kiranai, not that bad, but I've seen much higher. Let's actually keep her safe. Alright, and finally he goes down. And here in this stash we can get a decent bow, Heartseeker, and we can get another Baldur, but there is no use for it in the game. There is, in the unmodded game, you only need one Baldur to upgrade that Horn of Valhalla, and then there is no use for the other one. Okay. So now we're done with that, and perhaps we can also do another encounter while our haste is active, but I'm not sure. It's probably going to expire very soon. And we have to detect a trap on our way here too, so that's going to take a couple of seconds, a couple of precious seconds, and we'll see. Alright, that was very quick. Okay, so it might not be that bad, and let's involve Edwin in one of these encounters now. He's been kind of bored so far. Let's just go inside. We're blocked by this orc. Alright, so here we have both Chieftain DigDag, who's kind of like on the border of our vision here, who is going to want to make Fearcrack proud, and here is our old buddy Tazok, that of course we have killed in the final encounter with Saravok at the end of Baldur's Gate 1, and also in our playthrough specifically we have also killed him in the bandit camp, so this is the third time's a charm, I guess. It's going to be true for Tazok here, because apparently he is back once again and we're going to have to kill him for the third time. We can of course use this conversation option to reflect what happened to us. Apparently Saravok left them in a bad position, and Fearcrag is much more powerful, much smarter. Yeah, who I am to disagree if it means I get to put my foot to you once more. Fight, and know that behind Tazok is a power greater than you have ever seen. And I think in this conversation he mentions somewhere that yeah, and me much harder to kill, so he claims that he is tougher, but actually with SCS he is tougher in Baldur's Gate 1, he has better potions in the final fight. Here he's not going to... He is pretty tough, he has some hit points, he has a berserker, he is a berserker, so he has the berserker and rage, but he's not that big of a deal. Alright, and of course we have Chieftain DigDag here. I guess Senashira is going to solo everyone else. Okay, Tazok can still dish out some damage apparently. Even to like -10 armor class Jaheira. So of course I badmouthed him a little bit and he took offense. And he tried harder, I guess, in the fight. Anyway, now they are all dispatched. And here we have Tar in the prison cell, and he mentions a mage that has a magical key to this cell. He says that he has seen Fearcrag. Do not risk yourself for my sake. Find a way to get the key from the mage and we shall flee this place. So yet another hint that Fearcrag is way more than he seemed. But here from Tazok we have some magical stuff, and we have this sewer key, and you know, it doesn't fit anywhere in here. We are going to go back with to Athkatla with it, and we're going to use it in the temple sewers. Here there's going to be a couple of good jewels and some scrolls. Yeah, 2 rogue stones, some star sapphires, laurels, tears necklace, all that good stuff. Minor sequencer scroll. And Chieftain DigDag here has a Delver's plate, which is a plate mail +2. Nothing really that special. And Tazok had a full plate +1.
Yes?
Alright. And here we have the passage to the final level, and I think this episode is going to be a tiny bit shorter because I want to have this encounter basically the next episode dedicated to the whole encounter with Fearcrag, his puppet mage, and we're going to do some special stuff in there. And you know, without the pressure of time, I'm going to be able to talk about the encounter and do all that. But before we leave, we can still level up Senashira. And she finally is going to have access to level 7 spells now, which is a major thing, because level 7 spells are very important. First of all, we have a spell sequencer, which is an amazing spell. We're going to definitely make use of that. Spell turning is a nice protection. And then, of course, we have limited wish, and there are many uses of that spell. Then we have Ruby Ray of Reversal, so finally we're going to be able to kind of take on some liches, but I'm probably going to wait until Edwin has some level 7 slots, because 1 Ruby Ray is often not going to be enough. And also level 7, she doesn't have that yet, but Mordenkainen's Swords are a very good summon, is also a level 7 spell. So we're going to get access to all that soon. Of course, she has 2 slots here because of her ring. And I might get 1 spell sequencer and 1 Ruby Ray, I guess, for now, just as a kind of a selection without any encounters in mind coming up. Here we can switch some things around just for now. And here you can actually rest safely. You're never going to be interrupted here. So I think we're going to basically prepare for the next encounter and, of course, do it in the next episode. And we're going to go through the whole process. So for now, I thank you for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.